Boy, immigration sure is a hot topic this year. In the electric car world, of course. When the Volkswagen ID.4 was launched for 2021, it was imported from Germany, but now the 2024 model is built at Volkswagen's factory in Tennessee. This is a huge deal because that means it now qualifies for the full $7,500 federal electric vehicle purchase tax credit, making it a much more competitively priced EV. This comes in a standard model with a 62 kilowatt hour battery pack, rear-wheel drive, and a range of 209 miles per charge. But this Pro version gets an 82 kilowatt hour battery pack and 291 miles of range. And there's an all-wheel drive Pro that can go 263 miles between charges. As far as charging is concerned, that's pretty typical. It takes 6 hours for the small battery on a level 2 charger at home, 8 hours for the big battery, and about 30 minutes for both at a DC fast charger. Prices start at $41,160 and $46,300 for the Pro, but after the tax credit, that drops to $33,660 and $38,880, which puts this right in the mix with vehicles it competes against, like the Hyundai Ioniq 5, Tesla Model Y, Toyota BZ4X, and the Chevrolet Equinox and Blazer EVs. In fact, those prices are very good considering this has 282 horsepower and 402 pound-feet of torque, and the all-wheel drive version is just 3880 more and has 335 horsepower and 536 pound-feet of torque. That's more than any Volkswagen on sale today. The exterior styling hasn't changed much, but the interior has been updated. There's a new console, the shifter moves from up here to a knob right there, and the Pro versions get a new 12.9-inch touchscreen interface that has a new design that makes it easier to use. It's still not perfect. There are sliders for the volume and temperature controls underneath it, but if you want to change the fan direction, you have to go onto the screen and adjust it there. Well, if you're really lazy, you can just have the car do some of this for you. Hey, ID, change the temperature to 68.
All right, I'm setting the temperature to 68.0 degrees.
One of my favorite things about EVs is that you can leave the air conditioning or heat on without having an engine running. Great if you're sitting around waiting for your kid to finish at soccer practice. Two other things to note about this: the instrument cluster moves with the steering wheel so you can always see it. And one thing Volkswagen did not change is its unusual window switches. The driver only gets two. They work the front windows, unless you hit this button that says rear, then they work the rear windows. A lot of people don't like this. I don't think it's that big of a deal, although maybe in an emergency situation, it could be a problem. But it does one other neat thing, because if you hold the rear pad and use the window switch, it opens all four at the same time, because apparently that's something people do. And there's another way to keep things in sync. The driver can use their controls to move the passenger seat, or just hit this button here to synchronize both seats to the exact same position. Identical twins rejoice. Windows open or closed. You shouldn't hear too much complaining from your rear seat passengers because this has excellent leg room, even with the front seat set for a 6'1" driver like myself. And you can get a nice little slot here to put your cell phone in, plus USB-C ports to charge it with. The cargo compartment's also very accommodating at 30.3 cubic feet, 64.2 with the rear seats folded down, and it has an adjustable floor, plus a little wheelbarrow style trunk that you can leave your charging cable in. This top of the line Pro S model is pretty much loaded and runs around $52,000, which is less than $45,000 after the tax credit. And while it may not feel as premium and luxurious as you'd expect from a $45,000 car, it does feel like a $45,000 electric car. Because even with the credits, they still do cost a bit more. As with many electric cars, this has pretty stiff tires and the suspension is a little springy, so it doesn't love bumpy roads like this, but it is generally very pleasant to drive. And as far as build quality is concerned, this feels just like I remember the German ID.4 I tested a couple years ago. It's as quiet as the proverbial bank vault. It's not meant to be a sporty car, but that power and torque feel pretty good. This will accelerate to 60 miles an hour in about 6 seconds, while the all-wheel drive version knocks about a second off that. But unless you really need all-wheel drive traction, I think this is just fine, and that extra range is worth the money, which is actually less money. Hard to beat that. And you can switch to a sport mode that cranks this up a notch, either by using the screen or asking the car. Switch to sport mode.
Okay, sport driving mode is selected.
It's like having a co-driver, and she can do a lot of different things, which I'm still learning about. In fact, I haven't even looked it up. I just keep trying things to find out what she could do. It's pretty cool to discover it that way. This one's a lot of fun. Open the sunscreen.
Opening the sunshade.
And there you go, sunshade, which covers the full glass panoramic roof that the S comes with. I hope you like the sun. All told, this is a very pleasant car. Volkswagen makes some exciting stuff like the GTI, but it's pretty good at appliances as well. And I don't say that in a bad way. It's just that the car sort of fades into the background while you're driving it. It's less engaging and more connected. But there are also ways to partially disconnect from it. There's a lane centering adaptive cruise control called Travel Assist, which works fantastically. This can also park itself in a parallel spot or in a perpendicular spot, either nose or tail first. And it has a memory function that lets you show it how to drive itself up to 50 yards at very low speeds through 5 maneuvers to get to a particular spot, either a parking space you like or maybe your garage. You only have to do the move once and save it. Then when you arrive at the beginning of it, you bring up this screen here, pick the move you want, hit start, let up on the brake, and here we go. Let's give it a shot. So I did record this a little while ago. It's going to go up here in a little S-turn and get me into a space. Probably should be using the turn signal. It doesn't really know. We're on a public road, I would imagine. That's why you have to stay in the car to monitor everything. We're going at 2 miles per hour. Not really getting a sense of the utility of this, unless there is somebody in your family who just can't quite park the car correctly. Maybe you have a tight driveway that's a little tricky. This is a little slow, but it's putting me right back where I parked the car perpendicular to the road, exactly here. Probably wouldn't do that more than 1 or 2 times as a party trick. Or I guess a party in the USA trick.